Hello and welcome to day 9 of the Consistently Creative Challenge. My name is DJ Reynuka. I'm an actor and a filmmaker. I've been doing that for the past 20 years. In addition, I've been creating and teaching art programs for underserved youth as well for the past 20 years. And I wanted to do this challenge for myself to up the level of my consistency with my creativity and really challenge myself. And God put you on my heart to expand this out, to do this publicly, to encourage other people to be creative, to make space to be creative and do the things that God is asking you to do, the things that He's put in your heart to do. I want to encourage you to not take it lightly, to not think it's a small thing, to understand that the good work that He wants to do through you, the world needs it and it's important. This morning I listened to a sermon that talked about understanding that the good things that we desire to do, they're not from us, they're from God. And sometimes we can just mistake, like, oh, it's just an idea that I have, but it's from God. Like anything that's good, anything that you're thinking about other people, that it's beyond yourself, these things are from God because He's love. And it took a lot of courage for me to say, yes, I'm going to do a live stream. There's no editing, there's no way to stop. If you mess up, you just keep going. And that's kind of emblemic. Gosh, I can't even see. There we go. That's kind of symbolic of how the creative process is that you just have to keep going. And so we've talked about different things during this challenge to help you understand creativity, what's it about, how to have the tools to be consistent, things that I've learned over the past 2 decades of being creative in all kinds of ways. And the goal is to help you hit the ground running in 2024. And so through this challenge, it's just making space and creating a habit of I'm going to be doing something creative, however you want to do it, whether it's daily or weekly or whatever. But we're making that space. And so today I want to talk about creating that space physically. So we're going to talk about creating your sacred space. And I want to give you 7 things to think about when you're designing your space. First of all, I want you to think about how you want the space to function. And we're going to talk about how you want it to make you feel because both are important. But first of all, think about how you want it to function. What is your creative mode? If you're a writer, what kind of desk or apparatus do you want to put your laptop or your computer on? Where do you want to sit? Do you want a chair like this? Do you want a work chair? Think about something that's ergonomically correct for your body because you're going to be sitting for however long and typing, and you don't want to have back pain or shoulder pain. So think about your chair, think about the space of the desk. I particularly like a lot of space because when I'm writing, things get messy for me. I'll have notes, I'll have my coffee cup, I'll have a snack, whatever it is, it's I need space. And when I don't have space, I can get kind of frustrated. And so those are things to think about. If you're an artist, you might need a bigger space to work on. You need a way to have your supplies in the room, things like that. So, if you're a musician or whatever it is that you do, if you're a dancer, um, by the way, if you're a dancer, did you know that gyms that have those big spaces with the mirrors, a lot of times, if no one's in there for a class, you can go in there. And so, if you can look at the schedule and know there's a class at 12 in a class at 2, that maybe you can go in there at 1 and then that could be your space. You can put on your music and work on your dance if you don't have any other place to work on your dance with. I mean, obviously you can just do it in your house, but if you want to have that space where you feel more, I guess, professional or more separate with the work that you're doing, you can, go to a gym and do that as well. But that's just an example. It can be however you want. But I just want you to think about what are the things that I need in place so that I can do my work and create that creative, that sacred space. And why I call it sacred is because this is the place you're going to co create with God. You're going to say yes to the calling inside and you're going to say, okay, Lord, this is me in the space and I'm going to work, and you can invite the spirit in to work with you as you create. I have done that so many times when I've been stuck with writing. I've just prayed and asked God to help me, and I'll just keep going along, and all of a sudden something's opening up, and I'm like, "Oh," and before you know it, the spirit has helped you with a place you've stuck. Maybe it's a design, a story problem, a choreography problem, a little place in the music where you're like, "I'm not sure how this should sound." Invite God into the process. He gave you the idea, so do it together. I want to encourage you as well as to make the space unique for your creative work, because it tells your brain, okay, we're in this creative space. And so you're going to build that habit of inspiration, that feeling of expansiveness, of excitement, of inspiration, and you're going to start teaching your brain to do that. When I'm in this space right now that I've created to do these videos, I feel happy. I feel like um I've set out this place that I don't have to set up every time. I can just sit down, I can get to work. And that's what I want to encourage you with this space. You're creating a space so that you can sit down and get to work, and you don't have to worry like, "Oh, I need to work at the kitchen table, but the kitchen table is messy, so I have to clear it, and I have to do the dishes. Oh, but the dishwasher is full, so I have to empty the dishwasher so I could do the dishes, so I could clear the table, and by the time you're done, oh, I'm thirsty and I'm hungry, so it's time to make food." Do you see where I'm going with this? That it can get out of hand. So I want you to be able to say, I'm going to sit down from 6 to 6:30 and I'm going to write, and that you can just sit down and start writing from 6 to 6:30. And that's why I want that space to be a unique creative space, so that your brain can quickly get into that flow that we talked about. I think we talked about that yesterday in day 8, about flow, because we were talking about resistance. And so if you haven't listened to that, please go back. But generally, what I'm saying with this whole challenge is we're hitting these places of resistance. When I say so you can hit the ground running in 2024, having a space to work and not having a space can be a point of resistance and frustrations. So when you're creating your space, I want you to think about how you want it to make you feel. And so look at all of your senses. For example, I have this candle going I got from World Market. I love the scent. I'm very sensitive to smells. I wanted a scent that makes me feel calm, it makes me feel happy, it makes me feel a little luxurious, and it kind of puts me in that place. So think about your smell. Think about other inspirational things. I like botanicals. I like green things. And humans generally, like there's studies that show like when we look at green things, we feel calmer. And I mean, it's just so amazing how God's created everything. Like there's so much beauty in nature, and that is good for us. And so I like to have some nature from the outside on the inside, and so that helps me with like feeling calm. I have my sense of smell, my sense of touch, because my chair is so soft and cozy, and I have a cozy blanket here, and I love sitting down in this chair, and I always feel good. And so look at your senses, what you need around you. Maybe it's natural light that makes you feel good. So when you're creating your space, think about all of your senses and how you can engage all of them as well. I want to encourage you next to create boundary around the space. For example, I had a little desk in a corner of a room. That's all I had at the time. And I had to be really specific with my family, like, don't put anything on this desk. This is not the place to dump mail. Don't sit in my chair. I would get mad if people sat in my chair. Sometimes I'd let people work at the desk if they really had to, but for the most part, I didn't want anyone at my desk. I didn't want anyone to move anything on my desk. I had things just so how I liked, and I always kept my desk clear and organized so I could put my laptop down and work. I really did not like it when there's clutter on the desk and I'm getting ready to work, and then it turns into that clearly kitchen table rigmarole, thing that happens. And so create boundaries around that, and let your space be just the space that you work. Like I said before, sometimes I like to write in my bed, but mostly your bed should be reserved for other activities, if you know what I mean. And you want to have a space that's special and unique. Again, you're taking the resistance from your brain, and you're saying, this is my space, this is the space I work, this is the sacred space, and that you can go in there with that mindset. And I want to encourage you as well, um, with your space, to be creative with thinking about your space. So I've had, oh gosh, I've had so many ways I've had to do this. In college, I just had a bin. Like, I just had this big bin with my art supplies, things for creating, drawing, crafting. I was really into crafts for many years, and I want to get back into it actually. And all I had was a bin. I just had this bin with my paper and my pens and my oil pastels and things like that. So sometimes it could just be a bin, but you know that in that bin it's organized. Like, I used to keep my stamps in another little bin, my ink pads, my glitter and things like that. And so when I was ready, I just worked on the floor and I just pulled everything out, and it was very organized, and I could just get to work. Whatever I was thinking, I knew where to grab it. So you just want to be organized with whatever you do, so you can take away that resistance. Like, where's my favorite pen? Or where's my notebook? Where's my songwriting book? Things like that. Keep it in one place and keep it organized. At one point, it was a rolling cart. So I had to take that little cart. It had everything I needed. I could just roll it around wherever I could find space to sit. Then eventually, I had an area in a bigger room. At one point, we turned our garage into an office. So that gave me a little bit more space. Like, I had a whole wall to myself. But I've had moments where it was just a corner in a room. I had to set up my desk. Like I was saying before, I saved and I bought a desk that I really liked, that inspired me, that had the things I needed, the shelves, the drawers, and it was just a desk. At places like IKEA, they have kind of mobile desks that you can get as well. And now I have a room where I can close the door, and it's my office, and it's what I dreamed of having for so long. But the thing is, when I got it, I knew what I wanted to do because I had been dreaming and thinking about what I wanted to do for so long. And so, lastly, I want you to think about things practically, like your storage, like we talked about before. You can use bins, you can use rolling carts, things like that. And then your lighting, your if you want task lighting, if you want candle lighting for your mood. So you need your practical lighting, and I feel like your mood lighting. So for me, natural light just makes me so happy. I really love it. But even right now with this video, I have a softbox light so that it's closer to me, and I have a window with natural light. And so you need to think about those things when you're creating your sacred space. And so I want to go into your assignment for today. Your assignment is to collect about 30 images of inspirational pictures of workspaces that you like. You can use Pinterest. You can create a separate board on Pinterest for your workspace and collect about 30 pictures, or you can use a platform like Canva, and you can just pull pictures from the web, upload them into Canva, and then use the blank page and just, put the pictures there. Then I want you to step back and look at the pictures and observe some patterns. For example, you might notice a certain color that comes up a lot in all of your pictures, a certain palette that you like. Maybe it's more natural, maybe it's jewel tones. Or, for example, you might notice, oh, I chose a lot of workspaces with botanicals in there. Excuse me, live. So you might want to pick, excuse me, live. We're live. Um, and so you might want to choose spaces that have plants and make sure that you put plants in your space, like I have. And I have another beautiful plant over there that I love as well. You might notice that you have a minimalistic style with the things that you chose, or maybe it's a bohemian style. And so you can find little things like this little wall hanging right here, or I just love this little thing I got from World Market. I love World Market. These are actually lights in here with these little flowers. And, those are things to think about. Maybe you just want to have a small desk that you can roll over to your couch to work. which is totally fine. On my laptop right now, I have this thing that looks like a musical stand. It's really small and compact, and I can just pull it over to this chair when I'm not recording. So think about that. Look at your pictures, observe some patterns, and then for your journal, I want you to dream about your sacred workspace. What do you want in it? What How does it make you feel when you're in it, and what kinds of things do you want to create? What Think about, I'm going to write the most epic screenplay in this space, or I'm going to create a beautiful piece of art in this space. And just, I did want to say this too, I forgot, for your senses is to think about music as well. Music can be a great inspiration for creativity as well. Some people like it, some people don't. Sometimes, like when I'm stuck with writing, I'll just put on some music and it will just take me into that world. And so I just want to encourage you to do that. um yeah, so that's what today was about, creating that physical space. I don't want this to be too overwhelming. So that's why today is mainly just focused on kind of research and dreaming. And then we'll kind of get into like actually setting up the space and collecting things. So thanks so much for listening today. I hope that you have a wonderful, creative, productive day. If you want to sign up for this challenge, you can click on the link down below. You will receive a welcome email, and you'll also receive a calendar that's kind of like a habit tracker. It's fillable. And every day that we're kind of active, you'll see things to check off to do. But then we have days in there for our holidays and for taking a break, for refreshing, for catching up. That's part of being consistent, is acknowledging that life happens and being kind of prepared, like by giving yourself some space, some breaks, time to catch up, time to rest, things like that. That's what I found over the past 20 years, that as much as we want to be consistent every day, we're not robots. And so we have to allow for life and allow for rest and allow to be rejuvenated. So thanks so much for listening today. And I will talk to you tomorrow. And again, sign up for that link by sign up for